Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome everyone back to Checkmate. So we're gonna tonight's episode. We are going to dive into the Gucci Mane and Poo Sheisty robbery. Um, and what I think is that Gucci Mane never expected anything like that to happen. Never in years. Even though, Pooh Shiesty is a Memphis dude. Most of those Memphis dudes, they're serious. They stand on business. And he's definitely a Memphis boogeyman. Um, so let me break this down. When Pooh Shiesty got with Gucci, when Gucci signed Pooh Shiesty, he was a young man, and he was turning Memphis up. But CMG was Yo Gotti and Young Dolph. Neither one of them was able to sign him. Neither one of them. I think it was for the fact that everybody in Memphis was either with Dolph or they were with Yo Gotti. And he wanted to be different. So he gets with Gucci. Gucci signs him. And they take off. Gucci had the 1017. He had Fujiano, Big Scar, Pooh Shiesty, and a host of other people, host of other young people. So Pooh was pretty much straight, because once you get a cosign from Gucci Mane, and you're a gangster rapper, you pretty much ready to go. Everybody's gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. They're gonna listen to you. Pooh is, he has some dope flows, so it wasn't too hard to just adapt to what he had going on. Well, anyway, fast forward. Pooh Shiesty stayed in some shit though. It's like 1017 had this like curse or something. Like all of their artists had warrants. They all private chat. They all had warrants. They all were on drugs, little different things like that. And little things like that. And the thing is, once that took place, some of the artists started dying, bro. Some of the artists started like going to prison, dying. The other ones falling off. They have the one guy, Big Scar. He had an overdose, and Big Scar was Pooh Shiesty's cousin. So this happened while Pooh Shiesty was locked up. So Gucci signed Scar and he signed Pooh. So while Pooh was locked up, Scar was on drugs and all this stuff. He passes away. He has an untimely death, an overdose, accidental overdose, and nothing about it because he was locked up. And they were saying that Gucci never did anything, never really did anything to take care of the young man's family and everything while this was going on. Pooh gets up. Big 30, all of the family, everybody gets really upset because Gucci wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. So Pooh Shiesty has to do a 4-year bid. I believe he did like 4 or 5 years this last little stint, because he went, he shot in the club and some other little stuff. So he had to do a 4-year bid, 5-year bid, whatever the case. So when he gets out, which was about maybe 8 months ago, maybe, he calls a meeting with Gucci. Had Gucci come down to where his halfway house is, like somewhere in Dallas or something like that. Pooh Shiesty was in a halfway house, and he has Gucci come down to do the meeting and to discuss, I guess, either furthering the contract or what to do next. Gucci arrives at the studio. Him, the cameraman, and two security. One security stayed outside of the car, and then the other security, the off-duty guard, off-duty cop or whatever, came inside the building with him. When they had the talk, when they had the meeting, Gucci and Pooh went inside the studio area to have a meeting. Him, Pooh, and whomever else, his father, whoever. Pooh says, "Go get my bag." First off, Pooh was there with a bunch of goons, sends one of them to go get the bag or whatever. When he come back in, this dude they pulling out Dracos and so forth. Word is there was a scuffle. They pulled a gun out on Gucci, boom, 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 robbed him for his jewelry, you know what I'm saying? Forced him to sign a contract, all types of stuff. So that's the gist of what took place. Like several months later, you got Fed charges on Pooh Shiesty and all the goons that were with him. Not only the goons, his father was there too. Yeah, his dad was there as well. So now let's dive into this. To me, Gucci never expected this. See, because over the years, Gucci has changed. He has evolved and matured. It ain't the same old gangster Gucci with the ice cream or whatever he had on his face. Bad hygiene, looks very unhealthy. It ain't that Gucci. This guy right here, man, when he did his last bid, he came out looking like a robot, like a cyborg. Very much in shape, very much health conscious. I don't even think he smokes and stuff like that anymore. Got married and just focused on business. And you hadn't heard anything negative about Gucci ever since he did that last stint and got married. Opened a record label, signed artists, boom, 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 big business meetings, so forth and so on. Why would you ever think Gucci would have expected to have a meeting with one of his artists and they pull a gun out and rob him? Unbelievable. You would never expect that. So, like, for instance, I had a record label, kind of still do. And if one of my artists is like, "Look, Sean, we need to have a meeting. I want to discuss my direction, what I'm gonna do, how we're gonna do this, so forth and so on." And I make time out of my day, move things around to get to that artist. And I ride out to that artist and I'm like, "Okay, what's up, young man? What young lady, young man, what's up? How do you want to approach this? What do you want to do?" And then they up the gun on me and say, "Oh man, just give me everything you got, and I don't want to rock with you no more. You'd be lucky to get out of here with your life." My reaction would be, I'm going to engage that young person. For the first time, if not first time, for right then when they up the gun on me, I'm going to engage age that person. So either when you up the gun, you're either going to shoot me. Okay, I gotta hang on. Don't go anywhere. Stay with me. My grandson's crying. I'm gonna engage them. I'm gonna reach. I'm gonna reach for the gun, grab the gun, try to get it out of their hands, or either they're gonna shoot me, but something's gonna happen. So to know that they upped on Gucci and he did not engage, that should tell you right there he's not connected on that level. He's a changed man. I'm 50. I'm 51 years old, and I'm still gonna engage if you up on me. That shows you that he was not expecting anything like that to happen. And then Poo Sheisty comes in, you know, with goons, with crazy goons. So my thing would be, Poo Sheisty gets out of prison, does those years, came home, and grabbed all of his friends, at least six to seven of them, and his father, and drugged them back into the pen with him. Drug them back into the pen with him. Let me tell you. To me, that's ludicrous. That's unbelievable. And then to pour your father in, with them, that's unreal. Uh, and as a father, he actually should have. Let me see. Bear with me. I'm going to find out who. I'm going to find out who exactly the guys are. That got locked up with him. And like I said, one of them was his father. One of them was his father's dumbass. So here we go. Let's see what we got here. So here are some of the people, that Poo Shiesty got himself locked up with. Can we get started? Okay, of course, Lontrell Williams Jr., that would be Pooh Shiesty. Rodney Wright Jr., that's Big 30. You just derailed his career. And turns out Big 30 didn't even really have a record, like a criminal record. So now he's facing up to 30 years, maybe. Lontrell Williams Sr., that's his pops, man. That's his dad. I know that man's probably double his son's age. And he didn't have the wherewithal and the common sense and decency or backbone to pull his son to the side and say, son, I don't think this is the way you need to be doing this. You're coming into a business situation on street mentality. You're walking into a business meeting with a Draco. Now, I don't know where you're from, but I don't think you can get contracts and stuff signed and canceled and all of that with Dracos. I'll show you the weapon that you need to do that. There it is. That's the weapon he was supposed to bring with him. Fully loaded, ready to go. Shall we carry on? Kadarius Waters. Demarion, hang on, I'm a little older, Demarion Gibson. DeMarcus Glover. Corday Johnson. Darian McDaniel, and Terrence Rogers. Now let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pooh Shiesty came home by himself, grabbed 8 of his closest friends, and took them to the pen with him. Pooh Shiesty wasn't home 8 months. Came home, grabbed his father and all of his closest friends, and took them to the pen with him. And the crazy thing is, they went. Ain't that something? My question to the father is, damn, your son done made so much money that he became the father? Because I don't give a damn how much money my son makes. There's still a hierarchy thing here, you know? Yes, you make a lot of money, son. You make a lot of money, you know? But, you know, I was part of the reason you're here making that money. My blood runs through your veins as well as my veins. You're part of me until I'm gone. And then you're still part of me. I live on through you. So if we need to have a talk, we're going to have a talk. Whether you're rich, poor, pissed off, high, drunk. I've been there. I've done that. I've had to do that. So to have a father involved in a situation like this, it baffles me. That young man needed you, bro. That young man needed you. Your family needed that young man. All of these young men here on this list, they needed y'all. You know how I know? Because if they didn't, they wouldn't have sacrificed themselves like this. Now what you gonna tell their mother? Oh, that's right, you can't tell them shit because you gotta use your phone calls to call your attorney. They won't even give these guys bond. None of them. So sometimes you got to put things in perspective, you know, and ask yourself, why in God's name does this young man continue to get himself in bullshit? Very talented young man, you know, doesn't have any stripes against him as far as on the streets. So in that lane that he's in, he was going to be very successful. Already is very successful. But poor money management has you back at the table asking for more money. It's a huge perception. It's a huge, huge, huge mirage. It's a huge illusion that these rappers and so forth are rich. They're living from loan to loan. Do you not understand? They're living from loan to loan. At the end of their record, let's say, let me show you how it works. You put an album out. The record label puts an album out on you. They give you an advance off of the projected sales of your album. You need to recoup the projected sales of your album. Not just the advance. Not just the advance. So let's say they gave you $50,000. You got to pay that back. But you don't have to just pay that back. You need to hit that projected sales margin. And if you don't, you're in debt, the difference. And they don't just throw you away right away. No. They offer you another loan to get you out of the debt, but it actually springs you into a second debt. So now you paid the loan off with another loan, and you still have to put out a project. So now they're dipping into your touring money, because that used to be where you made your money, is on the shows, because you're not going to make it with the advance in the way they got things set up and the recoupment and everything. So you usually make it on the shows, but then it starts to leak into that. That's where the 360 deal comes in. Merchandise, shows, appearances, all of that shit starts to come back and pay that loan back. Then when you're not hot anymore, we start to find out what's up with that insurance policy we got on you. How much is that up to? How much have we sunk into that over the last, how long has this career been? How long? 8 years? How much have we sunk into that insurance policy in the last 8 years? Can we recoup that way? Oh, we can? Well, get them done. The best thing Pooh Sheisty could have done when he came home, if he wanted to get out of his contract, would have been to abstain from making music with Gucci. Go online, start getting his career going that way, and then quite possibly force his way out of the deal, buy his way out of the deal. He's super famous. He could have just started on, started a channel or something, or a few other things, invested in some other artists, featured on their joint, or just showed an appearance on their joint without doing music. Could have quite possibly changed his name, did the whole Prince thing. But his motion is strong enough that he could have went out on his own and got a big enough buzz to where he can buy himself out of his contract. So Rollo was signed to 1017 as well. Rollo from out of Atlanta, Mr. Dog Food. He was signed to Gucci as well. Rollo said he bought himself out of his contract. He said he didn't just pay him what he owed him, he paid him even more. So my thing is, a hustler will be a hustler. If that's in you, somebody tell you no, that don't matter. You're gonna keep going. So that's something Pooh Shiesty should have did, man. He should have kind of banked on himself a little more, And then he wouldn't have him and seven of his friends. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Seven of his friends and his dad locked up. I mean, come on. Come on. So again, let me see here. Let's see here. Bear with me. All right. So again, had Pooh Shiesty got out and figured out other ways to generate money, keep attention on himself, he would have had something at him. Word is he was talking with Yo Gotti anyways. He was going to go probably sign with CMG. So why not just talk to Gotti, tell Gotti, look, I'm trying to get out of my contract. I want to come sign with you. Why don't you pay off my contract? And you don't need to give me but so much of my advance, and let me go ahead and get to work. Pooh Shiesty with a machine like Gotti and Rock Nation and those dudes behind them, he would have been the biggest artist right next to Aubrey and Kendrick and those dudes. He'd be right there. I mean, because all of the other thug rappers, they've got bad names. The ones that they've got bad names for themselves. Atlanta is a whole snitch, Ratlanta. So that being said, the lane's wide open for Pooh Shiesty. But he wanted to stick Gucci up and get him to sign a contract, which is going to be void the minute you leave the studio. That signature don't mean nothing. It was under duress. You didn't need a Draco. You needed a lawyer. What? And that's the thing about these young people. Like, guys, slow down a little bit. Sober the fuck up. Get off of that lean for a second so that you can think. Because here's the thing. Your decisions drags your ass into some stuff. You're not just walking around here making decisions and your ass gets to chill over here. Pause. Your body goes with your decision, buddy. Okay, I'm just gonna chill and watch. My body's gonna watch the game today. Meanwhile, I'm gonna be over here making bad decisions, robbing this bank. But my body's gonna be good over here at the house watching the game. No. You make the bad decision, nigga, you're gonna be stuck where you're stuck. So Pooh Shiesty made a horrible decision, and there was nobody to hold him accountable, nothing but a bunch of yes men around him. So guess what? Him and all of the yes men got themselves in some shit. And his father. And his father. At the beginning of that song, FDO, you hear Pooh Shiesty's mother. just spitting some fire. Just she's not rapping, but she's just like motivating her son, but not in the way you would expect a mother to motivate their son. She's more so like, y'all motherfuckers gonna know my son is a bad such and such. Pop, 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 popping her shit. Popping her shit. And then he drops the song, FDO. It's crazy, first day out. Crazy. Fast forward 6 to 7 months from then, and you're back in for trying to rob your CEO? Wow. 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 That is the biggest. Pooh Sheisty has to be the biggest crash dummy that I've ever seen. Ever. Dude, you stepped out of prison, went down the street, grabbed a whole bunch of big stones, like one this big, one that big, like one like this size. You grab one like this, and then one like that, and start throwing them at the prison. Until they let you back in. Until they let you back in, which they gladly did. Crazy, man. Crazy. And the whole time I'm thinking, this has to be some kind of hoax. Because there's no way that young man did that shit. Tomorrow they're going to come out and say, it's a hoax. It's an album promotion. They're rolling out a new album. Nope. It was the real deal. 9 people or so locked up on account of Pooh Sheisty wanting to get out of a record deal with Gucci Mane. That shit doesn't even sound, it don't even sound right. It sounds like a bunch of clown shit. If I'm Pooh Sheisty and I want to get out of my deal, I call Gucci Mane up. Gooch, what up? Yo, Guap, what up? Yeah, what up? Brr, big Pooh. Look, man, I've been thinking about it, man. And when my cousin passed, you ain't really do shit. You gave a little punk ass $10,000, which I appreciate, but my family needed more. When I was locked up, you ain't really give me nothing. I needed a little something. Moms needed something. Man, I feel like I need to be out of my contract. Then Gucci might have said, bro, it ain't that easy, man. You can't really do it that way. Boom, boom, boom. That's when I would have said, don't worry. I will return. How much you need? Okay, cool. I'll be back. Then he could have called Gotti and got it from Gotti. He could have got it from Ghazi with 300 Entertainment. He could have went and shopped it with one of these big boys and got a better deal. Maybe got them to buy you out of the contract. But the fact that you're searching for another advance, it shows your business acumen. You're Pooh Sheisty. You're supposed to have a whole sub-label that's getting money from the major label, not the sister label, but the major label. Just like Yo Gotti and the boys, that's what they're doing. And Gucci, that's what Gucci's doing. Pooh, you were big enough to have that same subsidiary. Where are your lawyers? And here's another thing. So as soon as he got locked up, Bradford Cohen stepped up and said he's representing them. And if you know Bradford Cohen, you know that he's a hell of a lawyer. He's a right in your face guy. He's going to publicize the whole case. He's going to call out the system for where they mess up and so forth in the public. Well, Bradford Cohen stepped away from the case today. And Poo Sheisty ended up getting 2 local attorneys. You know, Bradford Cohen is a world-renowned attorney, so you're going to have to fly him in, get him hotels, him and his staff, set them up for the whole court shit. Poo Sheisty can't afford to do that. Poo Sheisty ain't with the label. The label's got him blocked because he tried to rob your CEO. He can't get anything from the label. The label is Gucci. You just tried to rob him. So now you're sitting in there with 9 of your buddies or 8 of your buddies and your dad, and you can't afford this high-powered attorney that you're going to need. You got a high-profile case with a high-profile victim, and you're a high-profile assailant. You need a high-profile lawyer. These local lawyers, so he's got a long road ahead of him. And he has a long road ahead of him. And I pray that things work out for the best. But that was such a dummy move that I can only pray that he has good health, good health and strength. Because you made such a dummy move that life got to show you. And who the hell's still robbing people? That sin right there, you need immediate punishment to do something like that. Immediate punishment. Your daddy there. You must be in there smoking blunts and everything with you. Knocking down females and stuff with you. Staying out all night, going to the club and everything with you. Getting in club fights and everything. That's a problem. And it's not just a black problem. It's not just a white problem. It doesn't have a race, this problem. It's a father to son problem. I think when fathers started to try to be their son's friend, I think we started to lose some of the alphaism and rigidity in our youth, in our men. And then that trickled down to the next generation. They were more friends and more friends and more friends with their kids, to the point where they smoke, to where you get this. You sticking this with your father. Either your father too scared to say something. I don't get it. If it's me, I love my son too much to let him do something stupid like that, especially in my presence. And I definitely love myself enough not to go in that building with him if he's cutting up. I'd say, okay, you're not gonna listen. I'm not going. Have at it. Now you got 9 people in there. How many of them do you think got enough money for a good lawyer for a case like this? How many? I can give you an idea. A big fat zero, none. You're freaking Poo Sheisty. The money that you weren't satisfied with having left over, so you had to go stick up Gucci. That little bit of money that you had left over that made you feel like, damn, man, I gotta go talk to this nigga now. You spending that money on lawyers right now. Had you not did this, you still at least have that little money until things got worked out. Please don't pull up with no public defender, bro. If I find out somewhere down the line that Poo Sheisty ends up getting some kind of public defender, he would be the biggest crash out of all time. Because that means, and there's no way he has a stash unless he came out to a new deal. But then if you came out to a new deal, you don't necessarily have a stash, you have an advance. Advance means we're giving you this in advance of you hitting these projected sales. So, I mean, you can tell that, I mean, they dropped the attorney, the big time attorney, Poo Sheisty dropped him. And it's obvious why he dropped him. I would, if I'm Poo Sheisty, I'm dropping him too. Bro, I can't fly you in right now. I can't get you no hotel rooms right now. You can't bring your paralegal and your team. You got 6 members on your team. That means 6 hotel rooms. He's not Drake. So if you sign a bum deal, damn it, see it through. Finish it. That's how we used to do back in the days. That's how you used to do back in the days. LL Cool J signed a bum deal 40 years ago. They had that nigga signed for 10 albums. 10. You know what LL did? All 10 albums. He did the whole contract. Over those years, they went in and renegotiated until L got what he wanted. I think he just dropped that the album number 11 called The Force. He produced it and rapped on it. And then there's been many other artists that had bum deals. Hell, the majority of them got bum deals. Most of them just see it through, parlay it to a different situation, use the leverage of the fact that they promoting me because it's for their best interest that they promote me. So I'm the big star. And then get on some of these sitcoms, other little so forth. Other little situations and so forth. But to go in and rob Gucci Mane at a studio where we know there's cameras, not to mention Poo Sheisty was still on in a halfway house, which means he had just got out of prison. He was still transitioning, still had a parole officer. Took a phone call from the parole officer while he was doing the robbery. If that's not the biggest crash dummy of all times, I don't know what the definition of it is. I just don't. But look, do me a favor. Whoever, I know you guys may not be tuned in directly right this second, but you're going to catch it. Like and subscribe. You're going to get Checkmate as often as I can come in and do it. And I'm going to be talking on some of these topics. As usual, we speak on current topics and so forth. So like and subscribe. This is a brand new channel. Starman Presents. If you want to go to Starman Global, go over to Starman Global and and check all the shorts out. And we're still pumping shorts over there as well. But there's also some nice clips and so forth on Starman Presents, which is this channel here. Just scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, and you'll see some of the clips from some of the podcasts and also from the movies and so forth that's on this channel. All right. All right. So I did, I talked about Gucci, talked about Poo Sheisty. I'm gonna dive back into a little something because it is a live stream. What in God's name convinced? It's like, all right, let's get back on hip hop. Let's stay on hip hop. What convinced Jay-Z to do these interviews right now? Why is he doing this? That's my question. What is Jay-Z trying to get in front of? Big stars and powerful people, they don't just do interviews. Jay-Z isn't known for just popping up somewhere and doing an interview. Why now? What is he trying to get in front of? We've heard about the Epstein list. Everybody knows the undercover stuff that Rock Nation kind of does behind behind issues that their artist has. What is it? Why is he interviewing right now? Why is he doing shows at Yankee Stadium and so forth, at the Dodger Stadium and stuff? What's going on? Seems like to me he's cashing out. There may be something we hear come up, but with him being out in front of it, he's able to, detract it. He's able to avoid it or defend it before it can even make it anywhere, before it can even have wings. And then my thing is this. They're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Reasonable Doubt. 30th. This dude is out doing a rollout and promos for a song that's been out for 30 years. That don't seem strange. Most of the people who are listening to music right now, when that song was out, weren't even born. I could see if I'd say the people right now who's in power, they were in high school when Jay was out. When he dropped Reasonable Doubt, they were like, they were in high school. No, when he dropped Reasonable Doubt, they were in Pampers. And we're doing Yankee Stadium. You're kidding me, bro. You're kidding me. I just did the demographic. Most of the people who consume music and pump music back into the music ecosystem right now are young people. That being said, how are you filling up Yankee Stadium with songs that have been out for 3 decades? And most of these kids don't know any of it, don't know any of the songs. But Reasonable Doubt was a good album. It was an extremely good album. Extremely good. Especially during the time when it came out. But you're going on a tour, a stadium tour, basically, and performing Reasonable fucking Doubt. Dude, when's the last time you put a song out? Anybody know? When's the last time Jay put a song out? I'll wait. No, I don't think it's about music. I don't think it's about music. I think it's something else going on that he's trying to get in front of. But who am I to say? I don't make the news. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about the news. But I would bet there's something. And then here comes Kanye. Kanye sneaking back into the fold, coming back into the country, and niggas like Kanye's nuts, bro. And I don't know how to take Kanye. He makes okay music, but he's so polarizing and so crazy, or whatever you want to, whatever have you, that I could never I could never be the biggest fan of Kanye. Yeah, I could never be the biggest fan of Kanye, even though the beats are pretty dope and a lot of the songs are pretty dope. I can't get past the weird shit. Back in the days, everybody stuck their chest out when they rapped. Nowadays, everybody tucking their dress in. Quote that. You need to quote that. I like that one. I like that one. I like that one. If you know, I'm smoking some fire THCA, which doesn't allow me to have instant recall like that. But that was a smooth line. So we've talked about Yo Gotti. I mean, not Yo Gotti. We've talked about Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane. We touched on Jay Z for a minute. We spoke on Jay Z for a minute. among other topics. So I saw that Trick Daddy had an interview. I don't remember the platform he was on. I think it's damn, I don't remember the platform he was on. The Art of Dialogue. I think it's the Art of Dialogue that he was on. And he was talking about how he's never received any real awards of Florida. Definitely a staple of Miami. But I would go ahead and give Trick Daddy, like one of the originators of the Miami sound after Gloria Stefan and all the bass and all that shit. I would say that he was one of the pioneers. He's one of the pioneers. But I mean, I ain't really never, me myself, I ain't really never liked Trick Daddy music. But I do give him his respect because he did put the light on Miami in a track. But he was saying that he went to an award show. They invited him to an award show, and it was like a Lifetime Achievement Award. And they asked him to present the award to Trina. He was like, it ain't really bothering him that much because that's his sister, you know what I mean? But it would have bothered me a little bit because they never offered him an award. And he was the originator. He's who went and got Trina. It's just nuts, man. You gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention. You gotta keep your eyes on yours and your own and make sure that you guys are equipped in case any emergencies come up. You gotta take care of yourself. Okay, so this has been Checkmate. I really appreciate you guys joining me. Like I said, like and subscribe to this new station to get some of the new content. There's shows being created, sampled as often as they come up. I go so far as there's a show in the makings every month, so far. Hopefully we'll see a few of them through and see how they do. But this is going to be there's going to be a tremendous amount of content on the station. So please like and subscribe. And until I see you guys next time, you have a good one.